Greetings to everyone who is listening. In today's episode, we are going to talk about the heinous act of the beast, Luis Alfredo Garavito, the man who tormented Colombia from 1992 until today. His nickname was the Beast. Colombian journalism gave him this AKA because of the way the bodies of 184 children were found across the country. Garavito was considered the biggest and scariest serial killer of the 20th century for killing, torturing, and raping over 300 children in Colombia. The Garavito case lasted 5 years. The detectives, forensists, and prosecutors involved were lost in a sea of hopelessness and anguish to know who would create the hell of a nightmare these victims had to go through and why. For the ones who are not familiar with the case, this man is one of the most cunning killers ever seen, using false names, sneaking from town to town, changing his appearance, and lying brilliantly to get what he wanted. The period in which the Beast committed his crimes favored him because of the violence of the time. Many children were abandoned or started to live in precarious conditions, having to go out to work to get a little of bread. It was there where Garavito took them and slowly led them to his lair, a far away and dark place where he tortured, beat, humiliated, and after raping them, he slit their throats to achieve his maximum sexual pleasure. Next year, 2023, Garavito will serve his sentence. This caused a huge polemic, making people question themselves if this man should be released on parole or not. Many say he should, because he helped the authorities to find the bodies and confessed all the crimes, had a good behavior in jail, and, according to the Constitution, the last two helped him to reduce his sentence. Others believe that someone that committed those crimes should never see the light of day. To get more into the topic, we brought Isabella Misler, the only survivor of the Beast's attacks. She is here to talk a little about the attack and her point of view on the situation. We have to thank her for accepting the invitation to the program and congratulate her for being so brave and coming here and talk about this topic in public. Isabella, welcome to the program, and thank you again for coming. Can you give us a little introduction of yourself, and if it doesn't bother you, tell the audience how your life has been after the attack?
Hi Julieta, how are you? Thank you so much. I'm a victim of Garavito in 1979 when I was 12 years old. He abused me on several occasions. The first time I felt a hand, I didn't see the man coming anywhere. He was stalking me. He showed me a machete and told me to be quiet because otherwise he would have to kill me. He raped me and abused me very rudely. After the attack, I really felt so insecure all this time, scared and unexplained trauma. I thank God for surviving of this.
Now that we know you more and have some context of the situation, we can assure you your life was super complicated after the thing you had to go through. Do you think a person like Garavito can change and be better?
I don't think so because the killer and bad people have an illness, have uncontrollable instincts, and my talks they can change on their own.
Based on what you just told us, is it enough time the sentence Garavito received?
No, it's not enough time. He has not been in jail long enough. Since his sentence was more than 1,000 years, they're going to let him when he has fulfilled 40 years old, and his sentence is not fair.
Do you think the victims received justice? Do you think you received justice after what happened to you?
He killed and abused too much people, including kids and adults, anything can turn back the time to these people and their family. I appreciate that justice has been done for me. I can allow myself to talk about it. Nothing about that situation was easy for anyone. It was very hard for me, but I can rest easy now. But if you realize him, the feeling of insecurity will return.
Thank you for opening your heart and telling us how this makes you feel. Obviously, the reason why this man is going out is because he made a deal with the Colombian penalty system. The same system that persists your case and makes sure that the ones who isn't behaving according to the law gets what they deserve. Basically, they are the ones who punish and set an example so that others do not make these mistakes, if you can call it that. That said, what do you think of the Colombian penal system?
In my opinion, I think that just to have good behavior isn't enough for a serial killer and he has to complete the sentence because he committed a lot of crimes. Colombia penalty system have to be more strict and they need more order.
Thank you again, Isabella, for your participation and being the voice of those other children couldn't have. We end this episode with a reflection of forgiveness and justice. We want to remember that this whole program has been made with the sole intention of keeping alive the memory of these little ones and to show the realities of the many victims of the beast. That would be all for today, dear public. See you next episode.